So, to our featured reader this evening, Jennifer Nguyen. Jennifer is a trans-identified writer from London, Ontario, and a member here at Riverside United. In addition to her job as a systems analyst, she has written From Adversity to Accomplishment, A Family and Social History, and published poetry in Tuck Magazine, Cinerasis, Words That Scene, and the anthology Things That Matter. She is also the proud parent of 2 adult children. So one of the privileges that I had as the Poet Laureate of London was that I held office hours. Anyone who was working on some poetry could come and visit me and we would talk, and that's where I first met Jennifer. She came to my office hours, we talked about poetry, we talked about many things, and then we started collaborating on some projects together. We did we co-curated an event for Pride London, and we've done a couple of little projects, and but a lot of what we did is we just talked about her work, and we talked about poetry. And she told me about this project that she was working on that had the tentative name Milestones. And that was over a year ago. And I don't want to set it up. I'm going to let it speaks for itself, and Jennifer will speak for it. But I just want to say it's been a great privilege to witness this project grow and evolve and take its beautiful shape that you'll witness here tonight. This reading itself is a milestone, and we are very happy that Jennifer is sharing that milestone with us. I would like to pass it over to Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Tom, for that introduction and for being MC tonight. And thank you, Celia and Muriel, for your wonderful selections. I am very grateful also to Reverend David Exley, Riverside United, and its affirmed committee for their enthusiastic support for tonight's event and the provision of this lovely space. And my heartfelt thanks to you all for coming. It is truly a blessing to be able to do this. The work I am presenting tonight is a longer poem called A Song of Milestones. It is an emotional and spiritual tour of my gender journey, and is split into a prelude and 10 further sections. Each section will be accompanied by a slide as a kind of guidepost. My sincere appreciation to my son Andrew for doing most of the prep work, and who I'm happy to say is here tonight. The title and overall structure were inspired by Walt Whitman's glorious Song of Myself. Each part of my piece has at least one major literary touchstone as a foundational referent. You will hear Whitman pop up again, as well as works by other poets, some novels, Shakespeare, a couple of movie screenplays, and a song. So, come on with me for the voyage. For the entire work, there are 2 dedications. The first in recognition of all of my various inspirations. To Walt Whitman, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Somerset Maugham, Christopher Nolan, William Wordsworth, Lewis Carroll, Robert Louis Stevenson, William Shakespeare, David Seidler, Emily Dickinson, Lou Reed, and Mae Sarton. And the second dedication is to all of my trans family. First section, Prelude. I follow Whitman and likewise celebrate myself and sing myself, but rather than multitudes, I weave my song of milestones, a decagenesis of scenes along a road that was mine to travel. I too will call on others, benefactors, for expression, for perspective and illumination. Journey's origin lost in my memory, born ostensibly male and so designated, so named and so nurtured. Words came very early, 6 months, but gender dissonance remained unheard and unexpressed. Strobe light engrams follow, being told you are too old for a soother. JFK's cortege on all 6 channels. The Beatles exploding on Ed Sullivan. Sitting on the front lawn, happily eating grass, horrified mother running out the door. Bedtime approaching at the family cottage, and captivated by a bewitching, repeated call, a whippoorwill, I was informed, flying free in irresistible serenade. And dear Addie, in my toddler speech, my faithful companion and cloth-bound canine comfort, when sub-rows of fears and confusions seeped into uncomprehending awareness. But just ahead, tucked under some roadside shrubbery, a little marker, a commemoration of strolls with Anne, also age 7, to the empty schoolyard, alighting on the abandoned apparatus, quiet communion, simply, sincerely, chatting about nothing, about everything. 2 little girls, one shrouded in near impenetrable masculine camouflage, commonality sensed on another plane, and a precious bridge built. But onward, just around the bend, lies the Alpha Cairn. Scarlet Letter. Childhood memories misty, fading. The change of schools, skipping a grade, classroom chaotic, Tourette twitching, misunderstood, attracting bullies like vultures to roadkill, medicated, and then a black, blank tunnel. No light, mist impenetrable, features lost forever, except a flash, revealing a dance on the razor's edge, revealing shame, desperation, confusion, suffocating in a foreign shroud. One thought, maybe I can get rid of it, the symbol, the focus. Flash, blade quivering in my hand, wielded, blood drawn, then stopped by a force unknown, a message that this was not the way. Flash, found out, denying, refusing help, assuring anything to escape the spotlight. Flash, shame coursing through every fiber, shame forming my own scarlet letter, not on display like Esther's, but seared deep in my soul like Dimmesdale, not an A, constantly shape-shifting, M, misfit, to F, freak, to S, sick, to U, unworthy, shame incepted far down into dreams within dreams, there to slowly spread festering tentacles. But cloistered there also, dragging by the letter, a small, quiet hope, a vision of being free of the shroud. 2 complementary adversaries locked in an unending pas de deux. Intimations of incompatibility. Book-fueled, restless soul, ever searching. The Hardy Boys when younger, looking for boyhood and comfort in mystery solved. And always history, scouring the past. The rise and fall of the Third Reich at age 12, some thought that odd. Always the questions, what happened and why? Engrossed in military drama, the duel of strategies and wills, fascinated by the what-ifs, the turning of fate, trying on a cloak of masculinity. Memories piling up, fleshing out, filling in, fusing and coalescing into a hologram, a simulacrum of a life. But just here and here, distortions, intimations of a primordial incompatibility, seen in fleeting glimpses like evanescent will-o'-the-wisps amidst a marsh, something narrow deep, jeopardizing all, becoming insistent, pushing through, but misconstrued, misunderstood. Identity disguised as attraction, an attraction then deemed far beyond the pale, triggering panic and depression, psychotherapy the inevitable result. And suddenly one day at session's end, driving upward through all the levels, piercing the final barrier into consciousness, clear as crisp mountain air, sparkling as a diamond, maybe I should have been born a woman. For a moment, the inception lay bare. For a moment, the dream tangible. In the next, freighted down by custom and terror, dragged by shame's dead hand, the vision sank back into the inky depths, leaving not a ripple, leaving spirit to cry out with Wordsworth, "Whither is fled the visionary gleam? Where is it now, the glory and the dream?" Lost indeed, lost but flickering still. Looking glass. Drifting through my life's hallways, my life's rooms and hallways, 5 decades of spaces apparelled in a wide variety of decor, university days, degrees chosen by default, places and culture sampled, marital sorrows and joys, wonders of parenthood, career changes and tribulations, all those precious souls who passed through, loved ones who have passed on. Looking in many mirrors, but not seeing what was beckoning, like Alice's looking glass house, urging me across. But venture down into forgotten depths, where riptides and relentless time have flayed my mind's anchor ropes. A long submerged dance resurfaces, transforming to a desperate masquerade tango, an old attraction resumed and an orientation adopted. But my inner levee under flood, cracked and leaky, the dance spinning to a climax, the mask unavailing, morphing my appearance bit by bit like a young robin, the masculine fading away, and my defenses finally swept aside by a deluge of memory, a trial feminine form finally and fully adopted, and whirling right through the mirror, not into a dream world, but out of it, there in one shattering moment to find, hibernating, waiting for affirmation, waiting for life to finally, truly begin. Just one extraordinary being, Jennifer. Undisguised. Tepid at first, then building. The fever rising higher and higher, perfervid spirit burning to be released, to follow Whitman and cast off the skies, spurred on by his cry that I am not guilty or stale or discarded, likewise mad for the world to encompass me, to me so long interred, in full feminine regalia, panic barely held at bay by night's feeble veil. Down to the bank machine I go. A simple, quick transaction, but oh, the relief, the joy, an eternity of quarantine wondrously ended, coupled to a dawning awareness of an unimaginable road waiting. Mr. Hyde and Ms. Jekyll. Contemplating an image, clothing, jewelry, makeup, hair, attempted accoutrements of femininity all in place to bring forth an inner truth. But like Jekyll and Hyde, a permanent war amongst my members rages on. That truth inevitably thrust back into the closet by the brutal reality of the masculine form underneath the veil. Aching for relief, I too sought out a wondrous potion, not to make bodily real a violent duplicity of spirit, rather to extinguish an agonizing duplicity of spirit and body. Delays, hindrances, more tests, provider shift, seemingly endless appointment wait stretching out like the Great Plains, until, like the first sun ray breaking through a storm cloud, the call, a cancellation, come in 2 weeks. Stunned acknowledgement, sitting and crying, unable to move for the riptides of emotion. And so, blessed by modern medical alchemy, Circe's found not with the liquid draught, but with patch and nasal spray, swapping unwanted testosterone for intoxicating estrogen, transitioning not from respectable Jekyll to hideous Hyde for temporary release of inner demons, but from a darkly profound duality towards the glorious light of a permanent unity of body and soul, a metamorphosis not fast but slow, wrenching hormonal shifts drawn out over the months, simultaneous puberty and menopause, or maybe andropause, riding the emotional roller coaster, in the midst of which auguries and whispers, incipient breasts, hints of body reshaping, gently fading body hair, shadows of reviving curls, subtle skin softening, dawning of mental relief. Days crawl by, impatient, monitoring, transformation's magnitude circumscribed by aging body, but soul finally, marvelously made manifest. The past is prologue. Like a germinated flower pushing through soil and detritus, seeking light, seeking to join garden's panoply, I yearn for revelation, for acceptance, celebration, for joining, but with my own special colors, long dormant feminine battling boundaries, frustrated by custom's suffocating necessities, off required male shell's veneer increasingly thin. At intervals, the inner bloom unveiled, only to find her beauty lost on some, loving labor over finery, all for naught, sinking under the dead weight of macho pronouns, shrinking from cruelties careless and intentional, subtle and vicious. But oh, those glorious times when someone glimpsed the fragile rose, nurtured the delicate spirit with simple nourishment. She, her, man. Times that shielded, times that elicited a gentle yet destined flourishing. And inexorably, an inevitability took hold. The bard spoke true. The past is indeed prologue. All before leads to the defining moment. But here was enjoined not a murder on a tempest-tossed island, but a torch passing. Male persona honored, but fading inward, seeking rest in integration. True identity's unquenchable flame, transcending imposed role, transcending body, transcending all. Thus, an era's end, masculine name and dress forever in the past, a turning of the tide mourned, yes, but embraced in trepidation and hope and faith and surrender. The scared, confused little girl of so long ago released, a caged bird at last stretching her wings. Finally, wondrously, a woman claiming her time to be borne aloft, proud and free. I have a voice dedicated to Reverend Phil. Flashing back, I still see the images unspooling before me, fusing into a stream, reimagining and revitalizing one whose truth was trapped within, unable to be spoken, a king reluctantly surrendering to his destiny. I wept as I watched poor, stuttering Bertie, his struggle, his cry to lie on in the empty cathedral that he had a voice, his ultimate triumphant speech resonating in my depths where my music lay chained and submerged, rekindling the longing to bring it forth, but not the hope. Fettered faith watched markers pass until came the key, the request from Reverend Phil, my own line. Speak your truth. Both services, April 12th, 2015. Surprised, but interested, uncomprehendingly agreeing, delving within, reliving the journey in all its pain and joy, unblocking the flow from the depths, scribbled notes on Sunday's order of service, scattered pieces coalescing while walking Marcus, while driving, while trying to sleep, awash in relief and wonder at the computer transmuting raw, newly mined emotion and memory into shaped and molded language. Come the hallowed day, quotidian concerns and fears depart, all the decades of agonized frustration peel away, inner rhapsody finally surging forth, completely immersed and alive in each extraordinary moment, and at last hearing whispered in my heart, you have a voice. You carry on and go forward because deep inside you know that, as hard as it is, this is your path. This is your chance of feeling whole. The other road, continuing to try and deny who you are, is when you instinctively realize leads quite literally nowhere. I had never before felt any sense of calling, but as my identity became clear to me, I came to know that, even though I didn't understand why, making the transition to the opposite gender was my mission. For whatever reason, this transformation is the thing I was meant to do. Full Fathom 5, dedicated to Sarah. Pausing, glancing back with perspective on coming out cops, strung a bit along the road, each element a momentous encounter, some beautiful and in full bloom, some slow to grow but now budding, some gnarly and weeping. One near the entrance as pride of place, an inevitable surprise, my daughter coming to me, I know you're transgender. Pledging support, urging me on, priceless balm to this weary, fearful traveler. Reflecting too on the dizzying whirl of my transit's consequences, marital separation, rejections, blessings, strengthened relationships, a blinding kaleidoscope of change. Above all, the bushel removed and my truth at last shining forth. But just now, floating into view, another conversation long ago, shame-filled and painful, only to retreat again into the mist. And in wonderment, reviewing the milestones I reached, some recent, some far past, but there, materializing in that mist, a lifelong knife-edged pas de deux, only now reaching its climax, the letter prescribed and hope triumphant at last over shame, metamorphosing to desire, thence to need, ripening to an inescapable resolution, burning to reclaim a deeply personal part of my shell, my own idée fixe, blazing full fathom 5 high, not for a sea change into rich and strange corals and pearls, but for a fire-wrought manifestation of the fair glory within. Consultations, qualifying, waiting, plans, finances, preliminaries, my multiple solo 9-hour drives to aptly named New Hope, Transfiguration Site, or preparatory sessions. Homeward bound after one, crossing a chasm, startled by a bald eagle swooping close and with a glance bestowing his benediction. Medical tests, necessary affirmation that my odyssey-stressed body would withstand the transformation. Anxieties multiplying. Would I be thwarted, forced to remain chrysalis caged? Would the breakthrough be endured? Driven on by a need beyond logic or emotion, all barriers thrust aside, all hurdles overcome, weight cast aside in favor of my own still thin but blossoming coif, the once endless weeks counted off. Then, scant days before, stark panic. Could I withstand my personal albatross, crippling positional vertigo, fear an inevitable companion at this way station? Early morning messaging to a friend traveling overseas, 3 a.m. encouragement from my son, and one foot once more placed in front of the other. Finally, suddenly, May 19th, 2016, the moment surreal, finding myself in the hospital, pulled full fathom 5 down into a whirlpool of narcosis, there to await the return of the blade, this time flourished by divinely skilled hands. Fourth, a butterfly, dedicated to Andrew. From cocoon forth a butterfly as lady from her door emerged a summer afternoon, repairing everywhere, but pause and linger over Emily's first line. What drama, what struggle and triumph lie lurking there? Climb through anesthetics, entangling vines into a clearing, a hospital room, on my back, claustrophobic, suffused with morphine, hydromorphone, fentanyl, slowly pulsating sleeves around my legs, forcing blood to flow and not clot, tubes dripping into each arm, one of them battling narcotic nausea, oxygen wafted up my nose, operations position having shaken loose those damn crystals in my left ear and viciously spun my world. Midsection remodeled, packed, bandaged and catheterized. And there, at my side, taking on a role beyond his 21 years, my son, comforting, reporting the Blade's wondrous work. Presence, aid by mere presence. This event's numerous names have power embedded in shades of meaning. Sex change, older, pejorative, sensationalistic. Sexual reassignment surgery, gender reassignment surgery. But I am not reassigned, I simply am. Gender confirmation surgery. Yes, this I claim. Confirmation of the innate, the portrait, internal. Easy reflections dissolve will around me a triad of ethereal Prometheus moths weave a fiery triple helix of pain. Once gained the present, now breaking through the opioidic barrier, and my constant companion for numerous weeks to come. Heavy pelvic wide throbbing, piercing movement-triggered paroxysms, electric cattle prod jolts of reconnecting nerves. Another strand, pain past, tortured soul tearing the foreign physique and tuning it, inducing one condition after another. Memories, yes, but ones that left a legacy of permanent scars. The last, pain conjectural, body and spirit tormented beyond limit, falling into a cryptarch abyss, a nightmare vision now never to be realized, but the specter always hovering nearby, whispering reminders of what might have been. The vertiginous miasma fades and reveals gradual healing around my surgical resurrection, finally permitting a glorious vertical interval, an assisted geriatric shuffle through the hallways, and soon out the door and off to convalesce at the bed and breakfast. But tendrils of night grasp at my dawn, leaving a residue of nocturnal fear, trauma past, gradually wiped away by time and Andrew's nearness, an unpayable debt incurred. After an instantaneous eternity, another checkup and first unveiling, still swollen, still misshapen and inflamed, but nonetheless beautiful. The mirror at long last reflecting true. The little girl finally seeing herself in the most intimate way possible. Onward to the Pilgrim's Return track from the transgender Lourdes, one figure waddling like a crippled penguin, portable padded donut seat always at hand. The other sprouting all manner of baggage. By car, fortuitous lift from a shuttered rental agency, 2 trains punctuated by an overnight hotel, and then the stretch run down the 401, home to an unhurried recovery of body and spirit, home to a dilation-filled routine, necessary maintenance of my virgin anatomy, discovered day by day like a newborn, exploring the wonder of her hand. Summer afternoons outside, soaking up new life, like a butterfly basking on a rock, seeking the warmth to take wing. Prometheus moths vanished bit by bit, and the helix dissolved, but for a deeply tattooed imprint. Return pilgrimage 7 weeks out, daughter, my invaluable companion this time, affirmation received and home again, to reconnect with life, to grapple with the growing, inescapable reality of success. And so look there, over by the evening primrose, as one lone lady at long last struggles out of her cocoon and apprehensively, determinedly, wistfully, wonderingly, finally prepares forth in search of union with afternoon's precious, ebbing incandescence. Final section, Phoenix. Miles rolling by, new hope receding from view but not memory. Homeward bound from the surgical update and some time breathing in Whitman's spirit in Camden and Long Island. My internal highway autopilot engaged. Like a mirage in the desert, I could still see my backyard and remember how, envious, I would watch them swoop and glide, effortless, multiform mastery. Clever chickadee, always first to find new treasure, darting in and out. Noisy blue jay storming in, hot with piercing eyes, circling high aloft. Thrum with the gentle morning dove. Gravity bound, I could not follow. Not there, not that way. The memory mirage dissolved, and I returned to my musical escorts, listening to Lou singing through the pain of loss, singing along with him about going through the wonderful fire, passing through self-doubt, anger, hurt, and ever-present past. In the end, being left with yourself, singing about discovering magic in it all. Then reflecting with Mom that all really did balance on a razor's edge, and not once, but over and over. Finally casting back to my surgical rebirth and self-discovery, healing hours spent immersed in May's life work, reaching the very last glorious beacon, her phoenix again. Reborn from love, reborn through the flame and the pain, reborn and triumphantly soaring in song, and hearing yet the echoing ache deep within my soul. Recalling too the wonder of finding new community, finding acceptance, finding a need to serve, to live and fast forward the life I never experienced, finding mutual validation with fellow travelers, rediscovering the gift of parenthood, touring exotic, ancient, chaotic China with Andrew and Sarah, fulfilling a long-cherished desire. And still they lie in wait, phantom panthers prowling my emotional forest, always ready to pounce. Sadness, moments past, never to return, days and years slipping by, and chances not grasped, joys I never truly felt. Time here growing appreciably shorter, so much time irretrievably lost, awaiting, deliberating fire, bleak suspicions I do not truly fit in anywhere. So many feminine marvels and trials, great and small, I will never know. Grieving with silent tears for a girlhood I will never have. Clouds of regret for what was or wasn't, that shroud the view back and obscure the vista right in front. Humiliation for the incomplete metamorphosis, masculine ghosts still sporadically bleeding through to draw the dreaded he's and sirs. Frustration at times, incessant, extraordinary, stress multiplied toll on my spirit's storm-battered heart. And still, impervious to transfiguration, my old nemesis companion, fear of what might be or might not be, fear the arc will soon split on a hidden shoal, fear gnawing away rat-like in dark interior recesses. And then, through the suffocating gloom, creep tendrils of light, comfort from some who have walked many miles beside me, new friends found in unlikely places, healing found in the patient, calm souls of trees and the dancing, gentle spirits of birds, all whispering hymns of serenity, precious balm found in art, mystical landscapes triggering sunlit reflections to pierce the dark, startled by glorious Carmano Walburn, sacred realm of primeval forest giants, bursting through my memory's vault and calling for expression. Startled by the unlocking deep within of another door, my voice modulated again, evolved, revolutionized, poeticized, verses piling up in my soul's inbox. Sweet, stolen hours spent translating the cosmic emails while life's noise abates, psychological demons retreat, physical ghouls slacken their grip, while pain transmutes to poetry, nothing existing except me and the phrases. Floating in union in an eternal present, I am suffused in a power and peace dreamt of, but not hoped for. But why now, so far into the journey? I've asked that question, and received shards of an answer. The twists and turns, both experiential and literary, conferred a measure of wisdom. Only the purifying fire could liberate my imprisoned feminine muse and bestow rest on the male persona who had carried me so far. So now, turning builder, I set about gathering my word rocks, constructing milestones to mark my road, igniting beacons of my own for others, each one releasing some of that magic, pointing to mysteries, billowing fresh wind at my back as I sail new seas of my lifelong spiritual voyage, blessed to now be charting a virgin course. And thus I passed through the fire, not in an instant, but over many miles, and reborn out of the ashes of the conflagration, a phoenix rose on poetic wings to strike out for the way untraveled, knowing the great unification lies around a bend unknown, perhaps near, perhaps over the horizon. This phoenix, my phoenix, battered and scorched, but soaring at last, and finally bound to sing my own special song. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was, that was wonderful. I always say that poetry has profound work to do in this world, and I think that was just an example of that very thing. Now, generally after poetry readings, we do like to have a Q&A, and Jennifer thought that would be a good idea this evening. If there were any questions to ask, please ask them at this time. And I will bring around the mic. Give it to you if you have any questions. And, maybe just because I have the mic, I'll start off with one that I was thinking about when you were reading. And that question is, why poetry? You've written a family history in prose form, but this is your story, and I'm just wondering, why did it come to you? Why did you choose poetry, or why did poetry choose you?
Yeah, I kind of wonder that too. I've done versions of my own story in prose form as speeches. So they were the first ones because they seemed the most obvious way to do it. As far as poetry is concerned, I never wrote a poem in my life before the summer of 2017. Not a one. And I reference it in there, but the first one was Carmel Walmer, which is a wonderful place out in Vancouver Island. It's a standard old growth forest. It was a place my cousin took my family to when we were out there, 2006 maybe or something. Anyway, that for some reason demanded to be written as poetry. And I did it, and it seemed to turn out okay. And then it was actually published. Michael Organ, bless his heart, published it in Tuck magazine. And I just kept on writing. And so then when I got far enough along, I got thinking about this. And Whitman had a lot to do with it. I love it. And I thought, I thought, no, I think I need to do some sort of poetic version of this. And I suppose in the end it was because there are things you can do with poetry you can't do with prose. I think you can go inside the heart and spirit a lot easier somehow in poetry, at least I can, than you do with prose. So the other ones were kind of a tour, a telling of the story, and they had their emotional moments and speeches for sure. This is more like trying to pull everybody inside.
Any other questions? And you talk about speaking engagements in the community. Can you talk a bit about that? Because now, I think when you're going to talk, you were telling me recently that you were speaking to medical students at Schulich School of Medicine at Western, and you also read to them a portion of this Milestones. Yeah, so tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about
well, I couldn't, this was last October, was the third year I've done that. Stan Manu, who was my endocrinologist, he also is, I think, the program director for endocrinology at Schulich up there. And he and Greta Bauer, who is a wonderful ally, has a spouse who is a trans woman. She is a professor of epidemiology, and they managed to get a unit on trans health within the endocrinology course. It's a Friday afternoon. And so for 3 years, Stan and Greta and I have done the thing. And so this past year, I was tweaking my remarks from the previous year, updating them a bit. And I thought, what would be really great here is if I could pull those future doctors into my hospital bed for a couple of minutes. And so that's what I tried to do. So I took a chunk of For the Butterfly, the one that's post-surgery. I didn't do all of that, but I did a pretty good chunk of it. Because I thought, this is about the best way that I can yank them in and plump them into the bed beside me. So that's what I did. And it seemed to go over pretty well. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
And of course, teaching in the humanities and in the English, and always trying to make a case for poetry to the scientists. Thank you very much for doing that. Any other questions? What we're going to do. Yeah.
Just that I really loved how you mentioned early on when you were separated and you made reference to potential murder and stuff. And then later on you mentioned the lady again, and it's that being a source of bringing you what you wanted and needed. Just my comment is just that I
Well, thank you. Yes.
Wow.
That was of course on purpose, but yes, I'm glad it worked. There are some things that are easier to catch when you're reading it than when you're actually hearing it, because there's a lot of streams and themes that sort of winding, intertwining in and around. They all kind of get tied up at the end, at least I hope so. But thank you.
This is where
I know transgender people. I thought I had some inkling of the emotions that we're going through, and it has exposed nerves. It's exposed feelings. It's exposed pain. It's exposed joy, and all that. I'm saying to myself, this has to be shared. Have you got any ideas of what you can, how to share this? Because as you said, it demanded poetry. All the prose, all the articles, all the talking with people hasn't gotten down to my heart the way this has. And I think it should be out there. This is a work that more than educates, the work exposes in the heart what's going on. And I was wondering if you have any plans or any ideas on how to use this to more than inform academically, but to inform the people who don't see because they don't feel it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. Poetry can do things that other art forms can't. Discovering. Further to Tom's first question, it shows me. Why? To this day, I don't know. It just did. And as far as plans are concerned, yeah, I'm working on getting it published. That's a heck of a trick. It truly is. Publishers are absolutely overwhelmed. The poets out there in the audience are also smiling. Publishers are typically overwhelmed with things. It's about long enough for a chapbook, miniature book. it's just long enough to make one of those. So I've got to get some more irons in the fire and see what I can do. And then once it's published, then it's out there. And ultimately, someday, it would be absolutely lovely to have like a full-blown book of poetry in which this would be included subsequently in that. But I'm working on it. I want to get it out there. And if anybody else wants me to do it, then yeah, I'll do it if there's an audience, for sure. I can do that.
How many times did you have to go through reading this before you could do it in public?
A few. Several. Maybe not quite as many as you think, I suppose, because in the course of writing it, you live with it. Like, you're living with this thing so much, and it's so very, it's very intense. Poetry is intense anyways, always, I've found anyway. But this sort of material that's so personal and intimate, especially so. So that was part of it. But I did have opportunities. There were 3 or 4 or 5 sections I did with my little poetry workshop that Muriel was a part of, and so I workshopped a few of them, which was a big help. Some of the bigger, more complex, longer ones at the end were the ones that I was able to do, and that was a big assist. I did it for a couple of other people, just sort of privately. There was my uncle and friends in his living room once for about 10 people. I did it there. But apart from that, yes, I did do full-blown rehearsals, reading the whole thing out loud. And I have to hear my voice in order to know how it's working. So I did do that a number of times. But I have to put a cap on it. You can almost do it too much, even something this long. And so there came a point where I said, okay, I think I know the words well enough. I'll maybe just read it over and get some ideas on pacing and volume and things. But yeah, as my musician son has told me, he's going to have to save your chops. But you do have to practice. There's no way around it.
Okay, great. Well, I think at this point, there are still some refreshments at the back, and we're going to kind of hang out for a bit.